Hit it.
Hello, and welcome to the 11th episode of the SkillShine25 podcast. My name is Veer, and today I am joined with Mr. Brian Heffron, the owner of Comedy Zone chain of clubs and a partner at EastCoast Entertainment. Brian has spent decades building one of the most recognizable comedy brands in the country, producing shows every week, booking major celebrities, and even co-founding Laugh for the Cure, one of the nation's biggest comedy fundraisers. He's someone who's seen how laughter can change lives and communities. Mr. Heffron, we'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you. That's a great introduction. I don't even need any more. I appreciate you being here.
I'm sorry, real quick, do you mind moving your mic up a little bit?
Up.
Just want to make sure you don't have any issues.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Perfect. Well, let's get started. To start, could you explain what the Comedy Zone is today and what your role looks like in running it week to week?
Sure. So the Comedy Zone is the brand name. That's what the customer sees. East Coast Entertainment is the corporate, which is where you are now. And so it's two parts. We have comedy zones all over the country, primarily on the East Coast. And they are either owned by me or they are much like a franchise, but not quite that far, more of a license agreement, where we handle all of the bookings and help with marketing in any way we can, but we don't actually own the business. So there's two different types of clubs out there.
Okay.
Then there's this, where you are now, and these folks sell corporate events, charity events, special events, concerts, performing arts centers, anything that has to do with comedy that's not a club. So these folks work like 9 to 6, working on their sales and marketing and whatnot. Then the clubs open at night, so I'm always on duty. And my role now is just to, my role in life right now is to take the top performing people in the company and get them prepared to take this over.
Okay.
You know, succession planning.
Okay. Sounds good. It looks like you've created a great foundation here, trying to make things out.
I'm really fortunate to have a lot of these folks, and the folks you won't meet today. But a lot of them have been with me over a decade, 15 years, and I'm definitely at the point where it's not even a matter of getting old because I feel young, but it's a matter of it's their turn. Mm-hmm. It's their time.
Yeah, you've done your time.
I've done my time. We built this thing. Just grab the wheel. Maybe they can take it to another whole level, but I'm surrounded by some pretty darn talented folks.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's a lot of aspects to this business. It's not just, honestly, I know there's a little bit of a jump, but how did COVID impact this line of business?
Well, we went from $20+ million to zero in 4 days.
Wow.
So COVID, a global pandemic, viral disease, and large groups of people do not mix.
Yeah.
And particularly large groups of people inside. So it was total disaster. You know, there was plenty of times when I was like, I have planned for everything. I have prepared for everything, but I never prepared for this. And so I can say confidently, without PPP, and the Save Our Stages movement by NEVA, and thank you to Amy Klobuchar, Senator Amy Klobuchar, we would not be here.
Wow.
There's no way. You know, I tried to pay every management as long as I could, but you know.
Yeah, it's hard when you don't have that face-to-face. It's almost impossible.
It's just money is just drying up, and don't forget, every rent, every mortgage, every insurance, everything else was always due on the 1st for every club. You know, people wanted paychecks, insurance, and so
there was no stopping.
It was just a huge hole in the boat when the boat was sinking fast. So the bridge loans and the grants from the NEVA and Save Our Stages, as well as the PPP program, which was payroll protection program from the government, saved us. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. And then I will tell you this, all during COVID, I rented, I think it was over 50 AAA baseball stadiums from Michigan to Florida.
Wow.
And I would put comedians on home base on a stage sometimes in the freezing cold, sometimes with planes going over. And then we socially distanced like 1,500 people in a 10,000 seat stadium with tape. And my wife worked the door, and I mean, it was back to the old school, like
Instead
when I started.
Instead of a tight club, you got everybody spread out.
Everybody was spread out. And what was cool is that none of the celebrities were working, so they were willing to take anything. So I had all these big name acts going, I heard you're doing this thing, I'll take, whatever little money it's gonna be. And it kind of ended up being cool because everybody was in the same boat, because everybody was cooped up and to get a little entertainment. But it was, stand-up comedy and outdoors, not a good combo. But it was the weird time we were in, and it helped us get through it, and it helped us feel like we had a mission to do something rather than just sitting around being miserable. So it was kind of, looking back on it, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, we all learn from the small things.
I like to see how resourceful everybody got. We just all got creative. I was like,
so unexpected.
Where can people go? They can go to a big stadium. If 1,000 of them go into a 10,000 seat stadium and we separate them, they're all technically allowed to be there. I checked with local authorities, and they were like, yeah, I suppose so. So we pulled it off.
Works well, and now in a great place, so obviously didn't end up failing too much.
Nope, it was good. It kept people working, which was the only, there was at no point making money was on the table. It was about keeping people working.
About the life, which at the end of the day, that's what comedy is. Right? It's the people. And
it's comedy is always compared to music, and it's so much smaller of a community. We all know each other. I mean, I know everybody who's in this business. The list of comedians is short. The list of people that are in the business are short. The agents, the managers, the club owners. It's like a little family.
Yeah, it's a dying thing, and I think a lot of people forsake it, right?
Yeah.
Especially you see all these influencers online that are taking control, and it's hard to do that in person.
It sure is.
Yeah. Well, going back a little bit, you've been in many roles, agent, producer, and owner. Was there a turning point when you realized comedy and entertainment was the world you wanted to commit to?
Yes, it was coming out of college. And I was a comedy fan, but I would caution you to go into a business that you're a huge fan of, because you're not going to see it the same way. But I knew this. I'm a fairly conservative businessman. I don't take huge chances. I'm slow and steady wins the race. I'm relationship driven, and I knew that comedy as an art form had the legs to withstand anything. When the economy is good, people go to comedy.
Yeah.
When the economy is bad, people go to comedy. It's not a fad. It won't. We're not going to wake up one day and then announces on our news feeds that comedy is not cool anymore. Nobody's doing. I just felt like
there's
laughter,
ups and downs, but humor never dies out.
It never dies. It was always going to be there. So I knew that was it met my risk tolerance.
Yeah.
If you're into, anything that could be huge one day and gone the next. But comedy's always, nobody's going to wake up and go, I don't want to laugh. Like nobody.
Yeah.
There's people that do, but they're idiots.
I agree. We live in an interesting society now where emotions are such a big part, and I think it's a growing issue, a growing topic. It's great. In 2019, the Comedy Zone merged with East Coast Entertainment, like you mentioned earlier, and you became a managing partner at East Coast Entertainment while keeping ownership in clubs. What was the vision behind this move, and how has it shaped your work?
So there were several items on my list when I was running what was at the time Heffron Talent, HTI, which was the corporate version of East Coast Entertainment, but only for comedy. Then I merged with these folks, and one, they're a great group of people. And number two, they had the infrastructure to accelerate and scale a lot of the ideas I had for the previous 10 years that I just couldn't do on a cash flow basis. Unless I had brought in a big investor, but now I'm beholden to somebody else's vision, and that's not what I wanted. So they were kind enough to say, hey, come in, use our resources, sales staff, marketing staff, and they're allowing me to scale some of these ideas that I've had knocking around for quite a while, and we're right in the middle of all of them. We had a little break there called the pandemic, but now we're back to executing on some of these ideas, and it's been great. They're wonderful.
Yeah, you mentioned comedy is not something that'll die out, but it is a limited pool. So when you get to that point, you got to branch out and find some other opportunities to grow.
And there was a lot of opportunities I couldn't have got to without some scaling, like support. I can't, at the time I couldn't support 50 employees. And so now, we can have a real concise business plan and say, all right, we're going after this, we're going after military bases, we're going after country clubs. And then when the business comes in, you got to support it and do it right. And so now we have that. So it's worked out pretty well. Thank God.
Yep. You produce more than 40 shows a week and work with some of the biggest names in comedy. What does that process look like, from finding talent to make sure every show is a success?
Most of the talent I work with are brought to me by agents and managers in Los Angeles. So they call all day long and all night long, even though they know I'm on the East Coast. And they'll say, so-and-so wants to play these clubs, your 5 clubs on the East Coast or whatever. 90% of those people, everybody knows. So you know them. It's not a difficult conversation to have. If Kevin Hart wants to play, Kevin Hart can play. For me, it's just negotiating the deal, getting it right, and then getting the marketing right. Now, there is a group that's come along in the last 5 years that, me being my age, as well as how fast you can become a star in this business, that I don't know who they are. I can ask around to these young people, but that's hardly, accurate data. Mm-hmm. So we move on to the next best thing is everybody has a metric tied to them now. How many subscribers, how many followers, I can even see it by city. I have a club in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Does that mean that they'll sell the same as Jacksonville, Florida? Mm-hmm. So I can see the subscriber base geographically, and that is a much easier way to book than the old days. The old days used to be just if they were on television show, if they had a stand-up special on HBO. But now that I can see the numbers, it's easy.
Yeah, it's easy. I mean, that's interesting, because I would honestly think that it's a little harder. You have a lot more people out there now because of social media. You got, with the very limited selective celebrities, now everybody seems to be a celebrity.
Yep. The only decision I have to make is, can they support 5 shows on the weekend, or do I put them on a one-nighter tour?
Okay.
So if you're up and coming and you got 1 million followers, I'll be like, yo, let's not do a weekend yet, because that's 2,400 seats. Let's do one night in Greensboro, Tuesday, one night in Charlotte, Wednesday, one night in Greenville, Thursday, and so on and so on.
Stagger it out.
If you can do 400 seats, you're still going to make great money on that run. But if I put you on the weekend, you're not quite ready to sell that many tickets. But it all comes back to those numbers. It's really quite easy now. Okay. It used to be like, I don't know, do you like that television show? Yeah. Do you like the guy on it? All right, let's try him. Now it's really quite, it's all numbers now. Yeah. And then marketing is much easier, because I can get to the fan base quickly. I don't have to put up a billboard and hope anymore, which is nice. I'm enjoying every minute of it. We have a very stout social media department.
Yeah, it's just the over and over again, right? It's repetitive action.
Very much.
It gets good.
Yep.
But at the same time, it still stays unique. Different people to play and present for. So
yeah, that part's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, especially there's so many up and coming talented people, and to watch them go from 300 a night to 10,000 a night in 6 months. And there's a lot of them I root for. They're the young people that are just cool and they're working hard. It's great. Very cool.
Well, I mean, that's a little bit more modern, would you say, right? You've already established a platform and are able to get some of these people. So going way back when you first started out, how did you find talent and find people that would come and present?
I had a room this size full of VHS tapes.
Okay. Way back then.
And your job as an artist was to tape your set, send it to me with a letter that said, I'd like to be considered for your roster. Back then we had rosters. And I would sit in a room with all the agents and watch comedy for a couple hours a day. Take notes, fill in these 3-ring binders, which there was probably 50 of them. They were like A through Z. And it would say, yes, we'll go ahead and hire this person as a feature act, or maybe a one-nighter headliner, or only in small towns, but I have a lot of those VHS, you know what VHS is?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a lot of those reviews from people like Jack Black,
Wow.
Jimmy Fallon, I mean the name's Dave Chappelle, and some of them I said pass. I passed on Jimmy Fallon. I just didn't see the funny.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were just filming their shit in a bar.
Yeah.
Literally, like a bar. Jack Black
Just
filmed his
started out,
stuff in a bar for me. And he was too dirty. I was too afraid to use him. But that's all hindsight. But that was the process.
Yeah, yeah.
Tape reviews, it was called. We just
Tape
sat.
reviews. That was the artist. They were shooting their shot, trying to see.
That was the
where
artist
they
shooting
go.
the shot. Some of them would sit out in the parking lot
Yeah.
and hand you the, tape reviews, man.
Yeah.
Stacks of them. The mailman would come in with boxes of tapes.
Yeah.
Some of them were
crazy.
people talking into a hairbrush in their basement. Everybody, like you said, taking their shot.
Yep. And were you like the only one that you'd say, or one of the main ones that they'd send to, or were there other people that they'd send these to?
There's about half a dozen of us,
Wow.
and we're all
Yeah,
best friends.
very limited. Yeah.
Very limited. And we're all best friends to this day for 50 years. And there's certainly 30 years. And I just went on a fishing trip with a bunch of them. So, the Improvs, the Funny Bones, me, Punchline, Zanies, the Chains. For whatever reason, we all started out around the same age, 22, 23, and we're all still in it. So we're all best buddies now. We've been through all of life together. And so, the tapes went out to probably 10 people.
Wow. So were you based in Charlotte, and you just grew from there? How'd that work?
I'm from Rochester, New York. I went to the University of Dayton when I graduated. I did not want to go back to Rochester, New York, because there's more snow than you could possibly even imagine. And so I chose North Carolina for the business, climate, and the weather.
Okay.
And so I've never been there, never been in Charlotte. Didn't even know where it was, quite honestly, but I saw in a coffee table book there was sunshine, and I hadn't seen sunshine in a long time, because there's no sunshine up there. And I remember telling my mom, that's where I'm going. And I knew I had to get out of there right then, because if I had stayed, I would have stayed there my whole life. And so I was like, I just went for it, rented a van, moving van, brought a couple buddies, 2 of which moved back, one of them's still here. And off we went, man. And just doing shows around town at hotels.
Yes, yeah. From the bottom. What was the comedy situation like when you started out?
The biggest difference is we didn't have celebrities back then.
Okay.
So the society in general is much more celebrity, ooh-ah. We didn't really care as much. The public didn't care. They used to just go to what was called a comedy club.
Yeah.
To watch comedy. And we put on great comedy. And for the most part, maybe the first 10 years, nobody really knew anybody that they were coming to see, maybe with the exception of maybe 6 a year. Jerry Seinfeld, Ray Romano, Dennis Miller, a couple of local legends named James Gregory and Pinkerton Bowden and Killer Bees. But all the rest, we would just sell great comedy. And then when the internet really started to explode,
that's when the names started coming.
Everybody became very celebrity. People weren't crazy about celebrities back then.
Really?
I mean,
it was like the really, really big names, that was it?
Yeah, but even so, it wasn't like we put them at some god level,
Yeah.
It was always just kind of more mellow. And now it seems to be like,
the pop culture stuff.
I say this, and I'm sure I ripped it off, but now we say people don't know what they want what they know. And so it's our job to kind of make sure that whoever I put in front of you, you know who it is. Because you most likely, not you, but they won't take a chance on somebody they don't know anymore. If somebody asks me who's at the club and I tell them, and they go, I don't know who that is. And I'm like, back in the day, we're like, I don't care who's there, we're going to see comedy. And now they're like, well, how many subscribers does he have? How big is he? Oh, that
Are
guy.
they worth my time?
Not worth my time. So that's a big society shift. And it helped me. There's a lot more people that people know now.
Well, comedy looks effortless on stage, but behind the curtain, it's a lot of work. So what's one part of running a club that people would be surprised to learn about?
How boring it is.
Yeah.
It's very repetitive. You used that term earlier. Very rinse and repeat. Comedian, clean it up, move people in, move people out. Because remember, we're doing 2, sometimes 3 shows on Saturdays.
Yeah.
So we go from 400 people, hustle, bustle, empty, clean it, quiet, boom, 400 more people. And it's very repetitive. It's very system oriented. So everything is down to systems on how we serve drinks and how we make food. And it's all about timing because I only got you for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And I got to drain you from every dollar I can get to you.
It's a business.
And so you go to a bar, you can sit there all afternoon. It's not, as soon as you sit down, I got to go. Let's go. What do you need? What do you want? Chicken tenders, let's go. and so it's very repetitive. It's very metric driven. It's a lot more, I always tell people it's not nearly as sexy as you think it is. The artist part, we're too busy to deal with the artist. We're too busy to listen to the artist. We're just hoping you're listening and having a good time. But yeah, I think the biggest misnomer is that we're sitting around going, this is the greatest job ever. We just laugh all night.
Yeah.
You can ask anybody that works there. They're like, I never heard a word tonight. I have no idea.
Yeah, they're too focused on the business.
The process. We have a lot of process.
Yeah.
So we'll do 2,000, 2,400 people a week, sometimes 3,000.
Wow.
Let's just say we do 1 million tickets a year throughout the system. If I can get $3 more a head out of everybody because of a system adjustment, it's $3 million to the bottom line, just like that.
Wow.
So we're always working on those type of things. How can I get $2 more out of you?
Okay. Yeah. It's a system, man. It's a business. That's an entrepreneur.
Boring, boring, boring.
Over the years, you've booked countless comedians. Do you have a favorite behind-the-scenes story? Maybe something funny, unexpected, or inspiring?
I have hundreds of those stories.
I bet.
No, I don't have a story, but I think I don't have a story that I could say that wouldn't get anybody in trouble. So, but I think what I could tell you is I'm close with Pauly Shore, and maybe not so much now, but 20 years ago, 30 years ago, this man was as big as Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm.
And to watch, be with him, and to see people lose their minds, and to watch how much Pauly went through to be a star, I appreciate what being a star is so much more. Because I spent so many times, like, people would cry and they would try to climb in through the window of his tour bus and sleep outside. And he was do you even know who that is?
Nope.
Well, he was an icon. I mean, he still is. Look, he's still very relevant. He's.
Yeah, I'm just not tapped in.
It's okay. He's from a different era, and all eras have their people.
No, but I can definitely imagine. Yeah.
He was huge,
Yeah.
and he made movies that everybody watched, and he was just so big. And I think the takeaway was, that taught me how to make sure I respect what they're going through, because there was never a private meal. There was never walking to the store. It wasn't a thing. And, you know, that takes a toll on you after a while. It sounds like it's great, but
It's a lot.
he lost, you can lose your identity. Because you don't know if you're the guy on stage or the real person, or why people are even talking to you. And we had extensive conversations, and still do to this day, over the years about stardom and
The often overlooked side that comes with it.
yeah, especially being a comedian, because if you're a musician, you got other musicians with you, and you have producers and road crew and all this stuff. It's just a comic. You're just a comic.
Yeah.
You know, Dave Chappelle was a good friend, and you know, he's in the stratosphere now, but you know, he used to just show up with his skateboard and his hoodie on, and you could tell that he was starting to disappear from society, because he was becoming bigger than his human body. You know, it's wild to watch that happen.
Yeah.
I worry about a lot of them, because it's a lot. It's a lot on these kids. You know, 1 minute you're doing TikTok videos and the next minute you're selling out 5,000 seats.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It looks great on paper. Hey, the view's starting to roll in, the money's starting to roll in, but eventually
You don't
gets
know
out
what,
of
you
hand.
don't know who is talking to you for why. You don't know what their motivation is. Is your manager even protecting you? Is your agent protecting you? I've had a lot of talks. I produced Matt Rife's Netflix special.
Yeah.
Co-produced it with at our club.
Wow.
And you know, just looking at him, you know, here's a guy that was the opening act just a few years earlier, $150 a night. And now he did almost $100 million in ticket sales last year.
Yeah, I remember that's Miss Nias also brought that up too when we interviewed her. She was like, yeah, Matt Rife, me and him were doing some interviews, and now look at where he's going off to.
But you also look him in the eye, and you know, the first thing I said that night was, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Because you know, you can tell they don't know who to trust anymore. It's just a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
You know, everybody wants to be a star, but
Especially
I'm like,
when you're younger.
careful, especially when you're younger, and especially how fast it can happen now. So back in the day, you may have to grind for 10 years before somebody knows you. You could explode in 6 months,
Yeah.
and all the leeches grab onto you, and so I try to do my best to keep an eye on as many people as I can.
That's a lot. So you've also spoken about many legends, like you just mentioned, Matt Rife. Can you share a memory of a comedian who left a lasting impact on you personally or professionally?
A lot of those. Here's another legend, D.L. Hughley. Do you know who that is?
No, sir.
Huge monster star. And a long time ago, I may have started to believe that because I own the club that I'm a star. I'm also a star.
Right.
And he was a really great mentor to me in talking about, be careful to remember that the customer is always the star, then the star.
Yeah, you don't have a business.
I'm not even in the line of fire to be a star yet. Your job is to run the business, and there are a lot of club owners out there who go on stage and who sit out in the lobby and shake hands and look at me. And I just remember him being a really great voice to say, hey, just because you're standing next to a star doesn't mean you're a star. And I really, really took that to heart. I think that was a great lesson to learn. Mm-hmm. And now I'm the opposite and have been for years. I'm way out of this public eye. Mm-hmm. I don't, because he's right.
Yeah.
I have no business.
You have nothing to prove.
Look at me, I'm the club owner. Nope.
Yeah, you've seen that other side of when the people do get the fame, right? It seems like such a big thing.
But it would have been misplaced. I built a club. That does not make me a celebrity. Yeah. To stand on stage and give your life and all that talent, that's what a star does. And for the same reason that, you know, I can't just walk on stage and do an hour of comedy, all right? Because I'm a business owner. And learning to know the difference was a huge lesson, and it was DL that taught me that.
Wow. I mean, you've been in this business for a long time, and after more than 3 decades, what's the biggest change you've seen with live comedy?
So we used to have comedy. Then we had black comedy and mainstream comedy. Okay. Then we had Latino comedy, black comedy, and mainstream comedy. And then with the invention of social media and this little thing in 2007, just picture this crystal ball shattered into a million pieces.
Yeah, so many
and
different
now
groups.
There's a group for everything. And it used to be not that way. It was like comedy,
super broad.
People that were on sitcoms. Then it was black comedy. Russell Simmons put this thing on HBO called Def Comedy Jam, and everybody went crazy. They go, what? Comedy can be drawn by race lines and from a different racial perspective? And I know that sounds like crazy, but it really was groundbreaking at the time. And you know, comedy from the black perspective, then it was comedy from the Latino perspective. Then LGBT got involved, and then it just shattered, and everybody has their own part of the puzzle now. And I thought, it's the coolest. It's so many people are now allowed at the table. Mm-hmm. And, you know, from any point of view, it's the greatest form of free speech in the history of humanity.
Yeah, you can find people so similar to you, so many different places.
And you can find people that are rough as hell with this point of view, clean with this point of view, have this ethnicity, this, dirty, you name it. And you can find your fan base because of social media. It's great.
Yeah.
It's absolutely great.
Well, now shifting aspects a little bit, you and your wife co-founded Laugh for the Cure, one of the country's biggest comedy fundraisers. What inspired you to start it? And is there a moment that showed you just how much impact laughter can have beyond the stage?
Tammy, my wife, 25 years this March.
Congratulations.
Thanks. She's the best. It's gone so fast. I can't even believe it. Lots of breast cancer in her family.
Wow.
And when we first met, I remember outside of a Wolfgang Pizza over at Cotswold, we were just talking. We were just getting started dating. And she was talking to me about how she runs in the Race for the Cure, which is the big race in Charlotte to raise money. And we started talking about being, I think that's, we had decided early on we weren't going to have kids. And so we decided if you're not going to have kids, you better lead a purposeful life. You're just not going to sit and consume. You got to be something to people and help people and be purposeful. And so I was like, I got a comedy club and you've got a cause. I wonder if people would show up to raise money for a cause using comedy. And they did. And I think the turning point was when we got to Night Theater and sold it out, 1,200 seats.
Wow.
And raised like $260,000. I was like, holy crap. Like, this is impactful. Like, lives are gonna be changed. Because 75% of the money we raised stayed in Mecklenburg County. So it went to like underserved communities and people that normally would get breast cancer and not even know until it was fatal. I mean, they were done. And so it was a lot of educational and a lot of screening and all these things that have really impacted people. And when we got to Night, I was like, we are changing lives. And it was awesome. And it was, really in tribute to a lot of the people in her family that are currently still battling breast cancer, as well as the people that have passed away. It's a brutal disease, dude. One of the reasons my staff used to be on board is because a lot of the waitresses would be like, my mom, my sister, my aunt.
Terrible.
It's terrible. 30, 35, not an old person's disease. So it's been a great, wonderful journey. Great.
Mm-hmm. Everything leads back to connecting people, right? You could say it's a business, but at the end of the day, all about the world and all about what you can do to provide, make change.
I always teach everybody, we don't have a product. Like, I'm not selling an iPhone where this is the star of the show. What we're selling is us and our integrity, do what we say we're gonna do, be respectful, build relationships that are gonna last and not try to get one up on somebody just to get the win. And, I'm gonna be in Nashville this weekend at a conference and I'm gonna be seeing people that I've been doing business with for 30 years.
Yeah. They're like family.
Like family. Been through everything together. And it's because I never looked at them and they never looked at me as a problem. And that's what I try to teach people, the younger folks, is, you gotta play long ball, especially in the service business. You'd always do it as a human being. But if you're in the service business, which is us, you don't have a product. They're buying you. That's it. So, I don't know, more people need to do that.
Comedy clubs can be unpredictable, like you mentioned with COVID. Some shows crush, others flop. How do you handle that kind of risk and keep moving forward?
Being an ex-athlete was probably the best learning. I was a basketball player and a soccer player, and if you didn't learn how to lose, get up, train, do better, correct your mistakes.
Let that push you forward.
Yep. Go watch the tapes. What did we do wrong? How are we going to beat them the next time? Yep. Short memories around here. Got to have short memories.
Yeah.
You start dwelling on losses. You're going to lose. I don't care if you're Live Nation or me. You're going to lose.
Yeah. Dwell on this.
You're going to make a booking that you go, this is no-brainer. It's going to be the easiest tour, and you lose money on every show. It just happens. But you got to hit 80, 85%, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But short memory is the key. Can't dwell.
Keep pushing forward.
Yep. What did we do wrong? What can we do to correct it? Move on.
Yeah. Wow. Well, moving to the younger generation, a lot of students listening dream about entrepreneurship or entertainment careers. What skills or habits do you think they should start building early if they want to succeed?
Number one, learn how to communicate with people that you disagree with.
Okay.
If you can get through that, you'll have a leg up on everybody. Number two, and I'm sure you've heard this one, but if you're not an entrepreneur until you understand persistence and relentlessness and living and dying every day for your business, almost over everything in your life. Anything short of that, you won't be successful. But I never looked at it as work. Like, it's me, it's who I am. There's no time, there's no day. My wife Tammy always says the only 2 days he takes off are Christmas and Thanksgiving. Now I go on a lot of 2-hour little vacations, but I live and breathe my work, and you really need that. And getting up when you're knocked down, getting up when you're knocked down, getting up when you're knocked down, that persistent gene, you've gotta have it. You've gotta have it. And stay stoic for me.
Stay disciplined.
Stoic, Marcus Aurelius, think with a clear head, put your ego aside, make good decisions. And I honestly think those are the keys. And I don't care what you're doing, whether you're working for yourself, you'll be successful. You'll figure it out. It's when you let emotion and ego get involved, you get in trouble. When you start going, blaming others, we lost this, we're down, you're toast. Buck stops with you. And then learning how to communicate with people you disagree with is big.
Yeah,
Instead of just, screw you, I'm going to sue you. You got to learn how to communicate with people that simply are different than you.
Yeah.
Different perspectives and coming from different angles. It took me a while. But don't burn the bridges.
Don't burn bridges. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice at the very start of your career, what would it be?
Take more chances. I took a few, but had I taken more.
Yeah, you mentioned you were very thoughtful.
I'm methodical.
Yeah.
But when you're young, you have a lot of time to recover from a bad decision. Okay. Now, I can't make any bad decisions because I don't have the time. But I wish I had tried a little bit more on the risk side. But it turned out okay. And then the other, from a personal standpoint, is I never wish I had picked up a cigarette.
Wow.
Biggest regret of my life. I don't smoke anymore, but I smoked long enough that who knows what's happened to my body about it. And once I got started, it was a bitch to get out from underneath it. And it dominates your life, financially, everything. And I was an athlete, and it was a contradiction. So it made no sense at the time. But I thought it was a good stress relief for trying to run all this stuff. I could just have a cigarette. But it was a prison I got myself into, and it took me probably 10 years to get out of it.
Eventually, one's not enough. You need to do more. That's an endless cycle.
The people who make those things know exactly what they're doing.
Yep. I'm lucky I'm blessed with asthma.
Thank God you got asthma.
Yep. Never got to engage in
worst shit in the world right there, buddy.
What's one myth about comedy clubs and comedians or the businesses that you'd love to clear up once and for all?
That they're all dirty. I think I get more people that say we don't want to go to the comedy show because it's dirty. And there are so many great comedians that are super clean. Yeah. And America's Got Talent has done a good job showcasing those folks. In fact, we have a guy from Charlotte right now that's in the finals, Shula King. He's amazing.
I've been keeping up with it. Wow.
He's amazing. But I think people look at the clubs and comedy in general and they say, well, I don't want to go to that because it's going to be too dirty or too controversial. Yeah, you can find that, but there's a lot out there. Go searching around. I mean, we do a lot of churches, Christian comedians. We do a lot of religious comedians.
Yeah, so much.
Yeah, you can find what you want. It's not just guys up there talking dirty or controversial.
Yeah. We've talked a lot about comedy, but like you've mentioned, East Coast entertainment is now such a much bigger thing. What are some of those other places or fields you're trying to get into?
Self-producing is number one, where I go in and I rent theaters, put together tours, and put an act on the road themselves, like Live Nation does. That was something I always wanted to get into, and we're there. I also believe military country clubs are well underserved. You know what's huge is active lifestyle centers. We used to call them old folks' homes, but these over 55 communities are blowing up everywhere because the baby boomers are 88 million people.
Wow, yeah.
That's a huge generation, and they're all turning like 70. And so they all made a few bucks. So they're going to these really nice places like Margaritaville and the Villages and all these, and they grew up in a generation where it was George Carlin and Vietnam War and the hippie movement, and there was a lot of artistic expression, so they can handle comedy. The generation before that was a little, Bob Hope and kind of standard comedy, but they grew up with people talking about politics and talking about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and so I am really trying to pursue and get in there and bring comedy to these places. And if you go there, you go, wow, this is not your average old people's place. I mean, they're on golf carts, they're going to bars, they're listening to Rolling Stones, and they got a few bucks. So that's a big area we're trying to infiltrate.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing I've learned from you is that there is so much positive with what you can do with this, right? Entertainment, there's so many ways to bring a smile to everybody that you meet and interact with. And that's what ultimately I think you're trying to accomplish.
It's great, dude. It's great. It's a great business to be in. I have not watched comedy in so long. I go to the club and I watch people. Yeah. Because they're freaking
different experience.
They're just, and they're pounding on the table, and you can see old people, holding hands, and young people on a first date, like trying to figure each other out by what they're laughing at, and just it applies to everybody, race, economic, it doesn't matter. But that involuntary laughing, when people are really going at it, it always tickles me. I'm just like, this is cool. I did this. Yeah, it's cool. It's better than, I don't know. I feel like even if it's for only an hour, we've had an impact on their lives, in some type of positive way. They can disconnect from all the shit and the mortgage and the kids and be able to just laugh. It's cool.
Charlotte has grown so much in the last decade. Where do you see the local comedy scene heading in the next few years?
That's a good question. It needs a leader. I can tell you that. I'm hoping that maybe Schuler King, but he's blowing up. I'm hoping that maybe a bigger artist here moves back to Charlotte or moves to Charlotte. That always seems to be the catalyst for a city becoming more. When Rogan went to Austin, everything changed. When Josh Blue went back to Denver, everything changed.
I never think about it like that, but they're drivers in
they need a leader. Yeah. And right now we're just kind of there. Nobody's really stepping forward. I mean, there's a couple people that are doing well, but I'd like to see people push each other, try new things, but they need a leader that's in the system. Like when Nashville exploded, it was Steve Byrne and a couple other people that moved back to Nashville and said, this is the scene we're gonna do. And once that happens, then I can do a night at the club where it's like so-and-so and friends, and they can bring up the locals and get them seen by the right people, because I can only do so much, but there's a hell of a lot of talent here, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I bet. There's so many people out there, and they just need a chance.
They need a chance. You're
just like you say, with the VHS tapes, man.
They need a chance, and they need somebody in their corner that can
help them out.
Vouch, put them on tour with them, Yeah. When they go do big theaters, they grab one of the locals and go, you're going on this tour with me. That's a transformational moment in a comedian's career to go from 10 people at an open mic to 2,000. Yeah. And you really, really start to hone your craft at that point, and you get better quick.
It's a skill.
Yep.
It's a lot of work that people don't see.
It's tons. I think it's one of the hardest things anybody could do.
Yeah. so many different aspects. That's what Miss Nias was telling us about. She was like, yeah, you got to do all of that stuff off the stage, right? Learning how to present in front of the stage.
That's right. Build your brand, the whole 9 yards. I mean, think about it. You and I just going up on stage. Within 2 minutes, we're going to be sweating and probably pass out.
Yeah.
And then you got to be up there for an hour, and the audience won't give you 2 minutes of downtime before they're like, boo. You know, you got to have them. That's so hard. Can't even imagine.
I bet. Looking ahead, what excites you the most about the future of live comedy and the Comedy Zone brand?
The people that are going to be taking it over from me, because they're going to take it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
They're thinking about things I could never dream of. I didn't come from that generation.
Yeah, new ideas.
You guys are seeing the world through a digital footprint and a connectivity footprint that we had no concept of. None. You may start to watch a comedian from London or Scotland that you love, and he comes to Charlotte and you see him. Like, that was unheard of 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You only got it from two things: Tonight Show, sitcom.
Yeah.
That's it.
Crazy.
Now you can see it from a million sources.
Tons of different, you'll see. It's so hard to even find people once you see, because it's just like, oh, I enjoyed this, and you just never see it again.
100%.
Like, that's how different it is.
And it's splintering into different things, and variety acts and odd acts and podcasts. Live podcasts are big, and so it's not just a dude with a microphone going, "What's the deal with traffic?" It can be, just strange stuff. I work, the therapy gecko, a guy that just dresses like a gecko and drinks beer, and I mean, anything's on the table now. You can build an audience quick.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
And finally, for students who may not know their exact path yet, what's one message you'd like to leave them with about finding their way?
This may be controversial, but I don't give a shit. I don't believe in the concept of do what you like and you'll never work a day in your life. I think that leads people into situations that they shouldn't be in. Because just because you like it doesn't mean you're going to be good at it.
Yeah.
So my advice to you would be find out, spend time with yourself, be introspective, and really figure out what you're good at and pursue what you're good at. Then be successful at it and do all the things you like all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And too many people are going, I'm going to do this because I love fishing. I'm going to be a professional fisherman. And I'm like, dude, you're not good at fishing. You like fishing.
Do what you're good at, then come back to fishing.
That's, without question, I think the best thing to do, because even though you might love fishing, you may have an aptitude for accounting that kicks everybody's ass. And you're just going to turn your back on that because you want to do something you like for a living. Do what you're good at. Learn to like it. If you're that good at it, learn to like it. If you're good at talking, be the best salesperson in the freaking world. And make a gobs of money and go, I'm going to parachute, I'm going to do all these things that I would have gotten into, but now I can.
That's great advice.
It's just, I can't tell you how many people pursue things, and I go, I don't know, are you going to tell him? He's really bad at that. But the guy is really, really good at plumbing.
Yeah.
Be a plumber.
Yeah.
Then go do whatever you want with your time.
Yeah.
And it's not hard if you slow down and be introspective to start around your age and up to go, you know what, I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at podcasting, or I'm pretty good at interviewing. Maybe I'm going to be on the news, or maybe I'm going to be a journalist or whatever. But let's start with that. If you hate what you're good at, that's one thing. That's fine. But maybe try to like what you're good at, so that you can have a comfortable life, as opposed to trying to do something over and over that you love, but you may not have good aptitude towards it.
Yeah. That's great connection to actually how I started this. I mean, I knew I wanted to do something, because so now it's often, like you said, social media, you see new things and you're seeing that increase in competition.
Yeah.
Because people are doing so many different things.
Yes.
So it's like, man, I need to do something. I want to do something. But I just didn't want to start something that's just BS and just to do it, right? It doesn't make sense if I was to start a nonprofit for cancer research. Great, it's a great message. But I have no expertise in that field. What am I going to provide to this other than a name on the paper, right? It was something I was like, hey, I enjoy talking to people, and not just enjoy talking to people. I think I'm decent at meeting people, talking to people, and just go from there.
Boom. I enjoy talking to people. I'm good at talking to people. Now you start to build your life around that. What are things that are good, that are going to pay me well by talking to people? Now we're moving in the right direction. But if you said, I love making my grandma's cupcakes.
Yeah, what's that get?
And I'm like, great, but you're better at talking to people. Why are you sitting there coming up with grandma's cupcake shop and you're over there floundering and you're like, I really like cupcakes, but I'm not very good at it. But everybody, find that aptitude, man. Everybody has it. Everybody's got a couple things they're damn good at. Find those first, because your life becomes really easy when you're doing something that you're good at, right? It becomes really hard when you're doing something you're not good at, And like if you told me right now, you have to become an accountant, I'm telling you right now I would fail.
Yeah.
So I built a business so I could hire a good accountant. It's just kind of common sense to me, but everybody wants to do what we love and we'll never work another day. Trust me, no matter what you do, you're going to work every day. That's never going to go out. Like, you don't wake up jumping around and doing, skipping and dancing and singing every day at work. That's not how it works.
Yeah. Well, great advice, and with that, I think we'll end it there. Thank you, Mr. Heffron, so much for being with us.
Thanks, man, for coming over. That's so nice to me.